It's going to be very difficult. Ahead of a last chance summit for Greece, that dour prophecy from the Dutch finance minister, who also chairs the Eurogroup of nations that share the common currency. Now, there have been many last chance summits in Brussels, but with banks in Greece closed for a second week and the European Central Bank warning it needs serious collateral from Athens if it's to keep pumping emergency cash the way of the banks there, this time it seems as though the game may be up. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President François Hollande presenting a unified front on the eve of the summit when they met in Paris, urging Alexei Tsipras to make precise proposals in order to restart the talks. But do the French really see eye to eye with the tough love expressed by the Germans? On Sunday night, Alexei Tsipras claimed he had the wind in his sails after a snap referendum soundly rejected previous bailout terms. But is it now 18 against 1? What if there is no deal? What next for Europe? Today in the France 24 debate, is time up for Greece? With us, he's a socialist member of the French Parliament, Philippe Cordery, who represents the French abroad, most notably in Brussels. Thank you for being with us.
Hello.
Joining us from Strasbourg, Portugal's Paulo Rangel of the centre-right EPP voting bloc in the European Parliament. You're the vice chair of that. Many thanks for being with us.
Good evening. Many thanks too.
The France 24 debate, where you could join the conversation on Facebook and Twitter, our hashtag F24debate. It is a fateful moment, not just for Greece, but the European Union, the Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker rooting still for a deal.
My wish is to avoid a Grexit. I am against a Grexit. I hope that the great country of Greece doesn't get the feeling that we are trying to exclude it from the Eurozone or the European Union. Nobody can kick them out, and nobody should want to either.
Nobody can kick them out. We have seen, Paulo Rangel, this Wednesday that the Greeks have proposals, they say, but they haven't put them on paper. Can they be kicked out of the Eurozone?
Well, I must say that that is a possibility. So we have to recognize that the Syriza government has a track record that really doesn't give us trust. We expected that today they had a paper, they had enough time since they presented the referendum solution, so 10 days ago, to prepare a strategy to this situation, and they were not capable of presenting today anything. You have to see, this has already happened in the night or in the evening where they presented the referendum. We were just reaching an agreement. The difference was really too tight, and they decided to abandon the negotiations and to present the referendum. Then they asked on the Tuesday and Wednesday of last week a third program under the ESM, but they recommended the vote no in the referendum. Now they have this huge victory that is a democratic, total, legitimate victory of last Sunday. But as you know, all the other countries, so the other 18 countries, are also democracies. So we cannot impose the popular vote of Greece to the popular vote or popular, I'd say, voice of the other 18 countries.
So what you're saying is, Paulo, what you're saying is no excuse for not putting anything in writing, even though they changed finance ministers 24 hours ago.
Yes, no excuse for that. Well, I believe now we have the information that they will present a paper with precise formulations tomorrow. I expect, because I do believe that it's very important to keep Greece on board, to keep Greece in Eurozone, I expect that at today's summit, Alex Tsipras presents orally the main principles of their solution, and that tomorrow that can be submitted in a written form to be appreciated and probably negotiated with the Eurogroup, with all the Eurozone members.
Philip Cordery, do you agree?
Well, I agree that it's absolutely essential to keep Greece in the Eurozone for many, many reasons. Economic reasons, because if Greece leaves the Eurozone, then, I mean, the speculators will think, why not another country? And other countries like Spain, like Portugal, will be the targets of the speculators. For political reasons also, because we have an EU which is based on solidarity, based on responsibility also. And if one country goes out of the Eurozone, what next? That means that it would be irreversible, the European project. I don't believe it. I think it's an integrational project, and we should not give that signal. And also for geopolitical reasons, because I think Greece is really in the center of the Mediterranean, between Europe and the Mediterranean countries. And if Greece is pushed out, then there's a big threat also relating to migration. So I think politically it's extremely important to have Greece in the Eurozone, and all efforts should be
But do you share Paolo Rangel's surprise at the fact that the Greeks didn't show up with something in writing this Tuesday?
I mean, it will come tomorrow. So I think, 48 hours after the nomination of a new finance minister, it's not bad to have new proposals. Greece needs to put new proposals on the table. We have to listen to what the Greek people said, because other peoples are saying that also. It's a cry out against austerity. It wasn't a no to Europe, it was a no to austerity. And that needs to be heard also, is that the policy that Sarkozy, Barroso and all try to impose on Europe of only austerity is over now. We need to build this European Union of investment, and there's plenty of other projects to create investment. In the treatment of Greece, we need to change also the way we think it. It cannot only be sort of reduction of costs, especially on pensions. And there, the appeal to the Greek government is why don't you make proposals on your fiscal policy, for example? Tax oligarchs, tax the church, tax the ship owners, those who have a lot of money in Greece, and fight against fiscal fraud. And then the EU won't have to ask for
further reduce also defense spending, because that's
defense spending. I mean, those are the spendings that Greece should be looking at, and which would mean that the EU would not have the same demands on pensions, because reducing pensions is not a solution for Greece, for Europe, and for the people of Greece.
All right, with the outspoken Yanis Varoufakis gone as finance minister, his successor, Euclid Tsakaloros, taking the mantle at a critical juncture.
I will not hide from you that I am nervous and very anxious. It is not the easiest time in Greek history to be taking on this job. There are class issues with this vote. Simple working class and middle class people who have lost their businesses want to trust a government that will deliver a viable solution.
Paolo Rangel, what do you think of the new guy in Athens?
Well, I think that this change probably has a symbolic dimension to try to say that they want to approach the Eurogroup and the Eurozone, because we have seen with Mr. Varoufakis that he was really very harsh, and that he was much more concerned in their own mediatic promotion than really in the Greek issues. Someone that was always claiming that there is a humanitarian crisis in Greece, and then appears in all the reviews and in all the media as a kind of Hollywood star, is not really credible. I must say that I disagree with my colleague from the French Parliament when he says that austerity doesn't has results. If we look at Ireland, if we look at Spain, if we look at Portugal, now we are growing. The unemployment rate is really coming down and down. So these savings that we have done, this adjustment that we have done, has done some results. The confidence of the markets is totally different today from the last 4 years. And I must say that the Syriza government doesn't inspire us trust, because these measures that my colleague has indicated, like taxing the church, taxing the ship owners, taxing the rich, they could already have been done. And so Syriza was wasting time during 6 months. The situation of Greece was much better in December 2014 than now. Even a program of assistance was much easier 2 weeks ago than now. So the Syriza strategy in some way seems that they want to leave the Eurozone, but they want to blame the Eurozone that we are responsible for their abandon of the currency, the unit currency. So this is really more a political game than really, I would say, a trustable strategy. But as I say, I think that we should do all efforts, but not at any price. They have to accomplish the rules. We have to see that the Baltic countries, Slovakia or Slovenia, are poorer than Greece. They have 4 or 5% of their GDP in Greek debt. They are totally threatened by Putin in the case of the Baltic countries. And they don't understand that 1 day before the negotiations, Tsipras was with Putin. Putin is the man that is financing Madame Le Pen. So the strategy of Tsipras is in a certain way parallel to the strategies of Front National. I would like to know how a socialist of France understands the behavior of a government that is a tactical ally of Madame Le Pen in the European politics panorama.
Philip Cordery?
I'm not going to answer that question because I think we need a serious debate here and not just accusations like that. I mean, Tsipras is working in Greece and has absolutely no links with the National Front, so let's not get into such debates. I want to answer the more sort of serious and political issue. You say that you want...
Paulo Rangel, Portuguese, saying that austerity's been good in a way for his country.
But he should look at his people, and he should look at what's going to happen at the next elections in Portugal, because I can tell you that the people in Portugal and Spain are not saying that austerity is good. Maybe some figures are there, but if you look at the social situation in Spain and Portugal, it's disastrous today. It's disastrous. The unemployment rates are booming. The youth unemployment in Spain is one of the highest in Europe after Greece. So austerity cannot be the solution, because austerity does not create growth, and when you don't have growth, you cannot have investment and jobs. And what the people of Greece have said and what is that they do want an agreement, but not at any price, and not at the price of continuing the austerity policies. And there are alternatives. We could, for example, because I think we need an agreement in 2 steps, and I think this is what the Greek government has just proposed, to have an interim solution to go through the liquidities, and then to have a longer-term solution on the restructuring of the debt. And in the restructuring of the debt, one of the proposals that, for example, Joseph Stiglitz has made is to transform part of the debt into growth bonds. And I think that's a very sensible solution, because that would help the Greek economy to be relaunched. And those are some kinds of proposals that will need to be put on the table in the second. The most important agreement will be the one after the emergency agreement, is how to restructure the Greek debt so that we don't have this crisis every 6 months or so.
All right, a repackaging of the debt. What is certain is that it will have to go at some point or another before the German parliament, and public opinion inside of the country that's been labeled Europe's paymaster, squarely against new concessions to the Greeks. Earlier, we spoke to the chair of Paulo Rangel's voting bloc in the European Parliament, German Christian Democrat Manfred Wolf.
We have to show the people that if you vote for extremists on the right or on the left, like in Greece, then you create deep trouble for your own country, first of all, and for the European Union as a whole.
Manfred Weber there. In recent days, the opposition Social Democrats have been even harsher than Angela Merkel's CDU. But now their boss, who's also vice chancellor in Germany's coalition government, toning it down, it seems, this Tuesday.
I am also annoyed by what the current Greek government is doing, but part of the truth is the misery is not their fault. Rather, it's the previous governments, the economic, the political elite, which plundered the country. It must be said that Europe stood by and watched for a pretty long time and said nothing and did nothing.
Philip Cordery, the French Parliament on Wednesday will be discussing the Greek crisis. A lot of people regretting the fact that there isn't going to be a vote like there is in the Bundestag, and that the French Parliament doesn't carry that kind of weight, and that maybe this conversation should have happened sooner. A lot of people also disappointed that the French haven't been able to measure more the German message.
I mean, the position of France, whether it's the president or the government or the parliament, has always been extremely balanced. That we need an agreement means that both the European Union and Greece have to make efforts. So it's not taking side for one or the other. I understand in what the Germans say that, I mean, the CDU member of parliament maybe speaks to public opinion. What's important is to hear what Angela Merkel is saying. And Angela Merkel, by her silence today, is also showing that she's wanting an agreement. And I think that's extremely important. We will have a debate tomorrow on the proposals, and I think it's too early to have any vote on, in any case, because we will not have all the proposals. But it's important that the Prime Minister decided to have a debate in the Parliament where all groups can express their positions, and also give a clear mandate to the government to continue that line of bridging Greece and the European Union, which has always been François Hollande's position.
Paolo Rangel, once again, we're faced with the question of it not just being a Greek problem, but a German problem. The Germans, as The Economist once put it, reluctant hegemons, it seems.
Well, I say that it's not a Greek problem, it's not a German problem, it's an European problem. There's something that I think that we should clarify. Nobody thinks that austerity is good. The problem if it is necessary, and that is our difference, is that sometimes you cannot live above your own capacity. And if you live for a long period above your own capacity, you are going to need a period of adjustment. This is really what is needed and what was implemented in the cases that are now successful. Of course there are problems. Of course we want more investment and more growth and to create more jobs. But we also have to see that the taxpayers, and I've seen today a poll that said that the majority of the people of France were against that the taxpayers were asked to give more money for Greece. This is a problem that we have to face. I'm not against solidarity with Greece, but they must do the efforts that the others have done.
So the Greeks have to do the effort.
And they really haven't done it.
Paolo Rangel, we're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for joining us from Strasbourg. Paolo Rangel, member of the European Parliament. I want to thank Philip Cordery, member of the French Parliament. Thanks again for being with us here. Stay with us. There's more to come here on France 24. In part 2 of the debate, we're going to be taking a look at the Iran negotiations. There, too, big deadlines that haven't been met. Stay with us.